The sound of her husband's laughter echoed from their bedroom as Amara Okafor pushed open the door, expecting to find Chaik watching television. Instead, she froze as she witnessed the most devastating scene of her 10-year marriage, her husband of a decade in bed with her younger sister, Nkechi, both completely naked and lost in passion. What would you do if you walked in on this? Hit like if you've been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. The shopping bags containing ingredients for Chaik's favorite pepper soup crashed to the marble floor of their Lagos penthouse. Amara's knees buckled as the reality of domestic betrayal hit her like a physical blow. Her 4-year-old twins, Kemi and Taiwo, came running from the living room where they'd been watching cartoons. "Mama, why are you on the floor?" Kemi asked, her innocent voice cutting through the chaos. Chaik scrambled to cover himself, his face a mask of panic and guilt. "Amara, I can explain. Get out." Amara's voice cracked like thunder across their Koi home. "Both of you, get out of my house." Nkechi, her own sister who had lived with them for months while attending university, couldn't even meet her eyes. The emotional manipulation had been happening right under Amara's nose. Every family dinner, every holiday, every moment of trust had been a lie. As Amara collapsed completely, her vision blurring, she heard her twins' frightened cries. 4-year-old Taiwo, always the more responsible of the two, grabbed their mother's phone with shaking hands. In their panic, instead of calling their father or grandmother, Taiwo dialed random numbers, hoping anyone, would help their mama. The first call went to a law office. The second went to a food vendor. The third call connected to someone who would change everything, Dr. Folktale Adebayo, a prominent family lawyer who had just finished a similar case of cheating spouse revenge in the Lagos High Court. "Hello? Is someone there?" Dr. Adebayo's professional voice came through the speaker. "Please help Mama." Taiwo sobbed into the phone. "She won't wake up and Papa is with another lady." What the twins didn't know was that their random call had reached the one person in Lagos who specialized in destroying cheating husbands, and Chaik Okafor was about to learn exactly how expensive infidelity could become. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. Dr. Folktale Adebayo arrived at the Okafor penthouse within 30 minutes, her sleek BMW cutting through Lagos traffic with practiced ease. She found Amara conscious but devastated, sitting on her living room sofa, while her twins clung to her sides like protective angels. "Mrs. Okafor, I'm Dr. Adebayo. Your son called me," she said gently, settling into the leather armchair across from them. "Tell me what happened." Through broken sobs, Amara recounted the scene of betrayal, how she'd returned from the market early, how she'd trusted her sister completely, how her entire marriage had crumbled in a single moment. The emotional manipulation became clearer as she spoke. Nkechi had been asking pointed questions about their marriage, subtly criticizing Chaik, positioning herself as the understanding sister-in-law. "How long has your sister been living here?" Dr. Adebayo asked, taking notes on her tablet. 8 months. Since she started her master's program at University of Lagos. Amara wiped her eyes with a tissue. "I paid her school fees. I bought her clothes. I treated her like my own daughter." Dr. Adebayo's expression hardened. She'd seen this pattern before, family members exploiting trust, marriages destroyed from within. "Mrs. Okafor, I need you to listen carefully. Your husband is a successful oil executive, correct? And this penthouse, the cars, the bank accounts, how are they titled? Jointly, mostly. We've been married 10 years. Everything is shared." "Not anymore." Dr. Adebayo leaned forward. "By tomorrow morning, I'll have emergency court orders freezing your joint accounts. Your husband's infidelity just became the most expensive mistake of his life." As if summoned by their conversation, Chaik's key turned in the front door. He entered alone, having apparently sent Nkechi away, his face a mask of false remorse and calculated concern. "Amara, baby, we need to talk. I can explain everything." "Mr. Okafor," Dr. Adebayo stood, her presence commanding immediate attention. "I'm your wife's attorney. Don't say another word that might be used against you in court." Chaik's confident demeanor cracked. Court? Amara, surely we can handle this privately. Think about Kemi and Taiwo. I am thinking about them, Amara said, finding strength she didn't know she possessed. That's why I'm divorcing you. But as Chaik's phone buzzed with an urgent message, his face went pale. He glanced at the screen, then at Amara with something that looked dangerously close to panic. We have a bigger problem, he whispered. Like and subscribe if you're ready for the shocking twist. What could be worse than cheating? Comment your thoughts below. The urgent message on Chaik's phone wasn't from Kechi. It was from his business partner, Emeka Nwankwo, with a single line that made his blood run cold. The recordings are everywhere. Lagos society is watching. Amara watched her husband's face transform from guilty remorse to pure terror. What recordings, Chaik? Dr. Adebayo stepped closer, her legal instincts sharpening. Mr. Okafor, I suggest you speak honestly. Lies have a way of becoming evidence. Chaik sank into a chair, his expensive Armani suit suddenly looking like a costume he could no longer afford. There's a video. Nkechi, she recorded us. Multiple times. She's been sending them to people. What people? Amara's voice was deadly quiet. Everyone. My business partners, your friends, the country club, church members. She's demanding money to stop, but it's too late. Half of Lagos has seen. He couldn't finish the sentence. Amara felt the room spin. The public disgrace would be devastating, not just for her, but for their children. In Lagos society, scandals spread like wildfire, destroying reputations and businesses in hours. Dr. Adebayo's phone began buzzing. Text after text from colleagues, friends, media contacts. The cheating spouse story was already viral on social media, complete with photos of Chaik's car at hotels, timestamps showing a pattern of infidelity stretching back months. Your sister hasn't just been sleeping with your husband, Dr. Adebayo said grimly. She's been planning this destruction for months. This is revenge, Mrs. Okafor, but not against him, against you. Why? Amara whispered, her heart breaking all over again. Money. Your inheritance from your father. The oil rights he left you that you never claimed. Nkechi knows if you're disgraced and divorced, she can contest his will as the only morally fit daughter. The twins, who had been quietly playing with their tablets, suddenly looked up as a news alert chimed across every device in the room. The headline made Amara's blood freeze. Lagos oil executive's affair with wife's sister caught on camera. But worse than the headline was the photo, not of Chaik and Nkechi, but of Amara herself, taken moments earlier through their penthouse window, looking devastated and broken. Someone was still watching them. What do you think about family betrayal like this? Comment below if you've ever experienced something similar, and share this story with someone who loves African drama. Don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories. The realization that someone was watching their penthouse sent Dr. Adebayo into protective mode. She immediately called her security team while scanning the windows for telephoto lenses or surveillance equipment. The domestic betrayal had evolved into something far more sinister, a coordinated attack designed to destroy Amara's entire life. Pack essential items for you and the twins, Dr. Adebayo commanded. We're leaving. Now. Chaik stood up, attempting to assert some authority. You can't take my children. Watch me. Dr. Adebayo held up her phone, showing the emergency custody order she'd filed electronically. Infidelity, public disgrace, and endangering minors by exposing them to scandal. You have no legal standing here, Mr. Okafor. As they hurriedly packed, Amara's phone rang. The caller ID showed her mother-in-law, Mama Okafor, the family matriarch who had always treated Amara like her own daughter. Nani, what is this madness I'm seeing on the internet? Mama Okafor's voice was sharp with anger. My son has brought shame to our entire family name. Mama, I'm so sorry, Amara began. Sorry? You are not the one who should be sorry. Come to Enugu immediately. Bring my grandchildren. We need to discuss how to handle this properly. Dr. Adebayo grabbed the phone. Mrs. Okafor, this is Amara's attorney. Any travel needs to be approved by the court. Attorney? Mama Okafor's voice rose. Good. Sue him for everything. That boy has forgotten his training. His father would be ashamed. But as they prepared to leave, Nkechi appeared at the front door, no longer the shy university student, but transformed into something harder, more calculating. She wore expensive jewelry that Amara didn't recognize and carried herself with newfound confidence. "Sister, we need to talk," Nkechi said, her voice carrying a subtle threat. "Get away from my children." Amara stepped protectively in front of the twins. "Oh, but I have something you want." Nkechi held up a tablet showing bank account numbers, property deeds, and legal documents. "Daddy's oil rights. The ones you never claimed. I've been doing research, and it turns out they're worth much more than anyone realized." Dr. Adebayo's eyes narrowed. "How did you get access to sealed estate documents?" Nkechi smiled coldly. "The same way I got access to everything else in this family. People underestimate the quiet sister, the one who listens and learns and plans." The truth hit Amara like a physical blow. This hadn't been about lust or attraction. Nkechi had seduced Chaik specifically to destroy Amara's marriage, knowing that a divorced woman would have difficulty claiming her inheritance under traditional family law. "You destroyed my marriage for money?" Amara whispered. "I destroyed your marriage because you had everything I deserved," Nkechi replied. "But don't worry, sister. I'm willing to make a deal." Behind Nkechi, a black SUV pulled up to the building. Men in dark suits began getting out. The co-parenting conflict was about to become a matter of life and death. Hit the like button if this betrayal shocked you. What do you think Nkechi's deal involves? Comment your predictions below. The men emerging from the black SUV weren't thugs. They were lawyers, Dr. Adebayo realized with growing alarm. High-end corporate attorneys who specialized in hostile takeovers and asset seizures. Nkechi hadn't come alone to negotiate. She'd come to claim victory. "You have 10 minutes to hear my proposal," Nkechi announced, settling onto the sofa like she owned it. "After that, those gentlemen will serve you with papers that will make your divorce look like a minor inconvenience." Dr. Adebayo positioned herself strategically between the twins and the door, her hand discreetly recording on her phone. "Mrs. Okafor, don't say anything. This is clearly coercion." "Oh, but she'll want to hear this," Nkechi smiled, pulling out a thick folder. "I have documentation proving that your marriage to Chaik has been fraudulent from the beginning. He married you specifically to gain access to your father's oil concessions through your family name." Amara's world tilted again. "That's impossible. We fell in love in university." "You fell in love." "He was recruited." Nkechi spread photographs across the coffee table, images of Chaik meeting with older men in expensive suits, documents with signatures, bank transfers dating back 11 years. His family was paid to court you, marry you, and eventually divorce you after gaining control of the Okorocha oil rights. The emotional manipulation had been even deeper than anyone imagined. Chaik appeared in the doorway, his face pale with panic. "Nkechi, what are you doing? This wasn't the plan." "The plan changed when you became weak," she snapped. "You were supposed to divorce her quietly after securing the rights. Instead, you got comfortable playing house." Dr. Adebayo studied the documents, her legal mind racing. "These oil rights, they're not just valuable, are they?" "Try $700 million valuable," Nkechi said. "Recently discovered reserves that would make the Okorocha family one of the wealthiest in Nigeria. Money that should have been mine when our father died, but he left everything to his perfect daughter." Amara remembered now. Their fathers had been contested by distant relatives, but never by Nkechi. Because Nkechi had been playing a longer game. "You want the rights," Dr. Adebayo said. "And you're using the infidelity to discredit Mrs. Okafor's moral standing so you can claim them as the more deserving daughter." "Exactly. But I'm not unreasonable." Nkechi's voice turned sickeningly sweet. "Sign over the oil rights to me, agree to an uncontested divorce, and I'll ensure the videos disappear. Your children won't grow up watching their father's public disgrace on the internet forever." The twins, sensing the tension, moved closer to their mother. 4-year-old Kemi whispered, "Mama, why is Auntie Nkechi being mean?" Before anyone could answer, Amara's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Check your email. You're not the first wife. A friend." The attached files showed marriage certificates, divorce papers, and a pattern going back 15 years. Chaik Okafor was a professional husband who targeted wealthy women, married them, and systematically destroyed them to access their family assets. Amara wasn't his wife. She was his fourth victim. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. This betrayal keeps getting deeper. What would you do in Amara's situation? Comment below. The revelation that Chaik was a serial marriage predator sent shockwaves through the room. Dr. Adebayo immediately began photographing the evidence, while Amara struggled to process that her entire adult life had been built on lies and calculated deception. For wives, Dr. Adebayo muttered, scrolling through the files. 3 successful divorces where he gained significant assets. Mrs. Okafor, you were never meant to survive this marriage financially or emotionally intact. Nkechi's confident facade cracked slightly as she realized the evidence implicated her far more than she'd anticipated. If Chaik was a known predator, her involvement looked less like sisterly betrayal and more like criminal conspiracy. This changes nothing, Nkechi insisted, but her voice wavered. The oil rights belong to me, Amara said quietly, finding strength in the truth. And they always will. Chaik stepped forward, his mask of remorse completely gone, replaced by cold calculation. Amara, be reasonable. You're one woman with 2 small children. We have resources, connections, legal teams that can destroy you in court for years. Just sign the papers. Mr. Okafor, Dr. Adebayo's voice cut like a blade, you've just confessed to conspiracy, fraud, and criminal manipulation in front of witnesses. I'd suggest you remain silent. But the real shock came when Mama Okafor herself appeared in the doorway, having used her spare key. The elderly woman's face was stone-cold fury as she took in the scene. The lawyers, the scattered evidence, her son's guilt written across his features. Chaik, she said in Igbo, her voice deadly quiet. You have brought disgrace, not just to your wife, but to our ancestral name. What happened next stunned everyone. Mama Okafor walked directly to Amara and knelt before her, taking her hands in a gesture of profound respect and apology. My daughter, forgive us. My son was not raised to be a predator, but something evil entered his heart. You are still my daughter, still the mother of my grandchildren. I will stand with you against him. The power shift in the room was immediate. In Igbo culture, when the family matriarch chose sides, the battle was essentially over. But Nkechi wasn't finished. This is touching, she said sarcastically, but you're all forgetting something important. Those videos aren't the only recordings I have. She pulled out another tablet, showing audio recordings time-stamped over months. Conversations between Chaik and his previous victims, discussions of their plan to destroy Amara, and most damning of all, recordings of Chaik confessing to physical threats against women who refused to cooperate. Insurance, Nkechi smiled coldly. To make sure I never get betrayed the way those other wives did. Dr. Adebayo realized the terrifying truth. Nkechi wasn't just Chaik's accomplice. She was his handler, the one who had been orchestrating his predatory marriages for years. The domestic betrayal had revealed something far more sinister, a criminal enterprise that had been destroying families across Lagos for over a decade. And Amara had just become the key witness who could bring it all down. What do you think about this massive conspiracy? Comment below if you're shocked by this twist, and share the story with someone who loves justice. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The revelation that Nkechi had been the mastermind behind years of marriage fraud sent Dr. Adebayo into full prosecutor mode. She immediately contacted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission while keeping her phone recording everything. Mrs. Okafor, I need you to think carefully, Dr. Adebayo said. Have there been other women at family gatherings? Other girlfriends? Or friends of your husband over the years? Amara's memory flooded back. Elegant women who had appeared at parties, always introduced as business associates or family friends. Women who had asked pointed questions about her family background, her father's business interests, her inheritance plans. At least 6 different women over the years, she whispered. They always seemed so interested in our family history. Mama Okafor's face grew thunderous. You turn my son into a criminal, You witch, she spat at Nkechi in rapid Igbo. Using our family name to steal from innocent women. But Nkechi remained calm, almost amused. Mama Okafor, your son was eager to participate. Very eager. Especially when he learned how much money was involved. Chaik finally exploded. I'm done with this. Amara, sign the papers, take whatever divorce settlement we offer, and let's end this quietly. You don't want this becoming a public trial where your children hear every detail of what their father really is. The threat was clear, emotional manipulation designed to make Amara prioritize her children's innocence over justice. But 4-year-old Taiwo, who had been quietly listening, suddenly spoke up. Papa, why did you hurt Mama? The innocent question cut through all the legal maneuvering and criminal schemes. In that moment, everyone in the room was forced to confront the human cost of their actions. Dr. Adebayo knelt beside the twins. Taiwo, Kemi, your mama is very brave, and she's going to make sure no other mamas get hurt like this. Can you be brave too? Both children nodded solemnly, moving protectively closer to their mother. That's when Amara made her decision. I'm not signing anything. I'm pressing charges. All of them. Nkechi's composure finally cracked. You have no idea what you're starting. This conspiracy involves people with real power in this city. Politicians, judges, business leaders who have benefited from our arrangements. Are you threatening Mrs. Okafor? Dr. Adebayo asked, making sure her recording captured every word. I'm educating her, Nkechi replied coldly. Some battles can't be won by ordinary people. But as she spoke, police sirens began wailing in the distance, growing closer. Dr. Adebayo smiled grimly. She had been secretly coordinating with law enforcement throughout the entire confrontation. Chaik bolted for the balcony door, but Mama Okafor moved faster than anyone expected for a woman her age, blocking his path with surprising strength. You will face what you have done, she commanded. As the police entered the penthouse, Nkechi played her final card. Arrest me if you want, but the videos are already uploaded to cloud servers with timer releases. If I don't check in every 24 hours, everything goes public automatically. The revenge story was about to become a race against time. Like this video if you're ready for justice. What do you think happens when the 24-hour deadline hits? Comment your thoughts below. The police raid transformed the penthouse into a crime scene within minutes. Detective Inspector Adani Bakir, a stern woman with 20 years of experience in financial crimes, took immediate control of the situation. Mrs. Okafor, we need you and your children relocated immediately, Detective Bakir announced. This conspiracy is bigger than we initially realized. As evidence teams photographed documents and seized electronic devices, Dr. Adebayo worked frantically on her laptop, trying to trace the cloud servers where Nkechi had uploaded the compromising videos. The 24-hour deadline meant they had less than 18 hours to prevent massive public humiliation for multiple families. How many other wives are involved? Detective Bakir asked Nkechi, who had been handcuffed but remained defiant. You'll find out soon enough, Nkechi smirked. Lagos society is about to learn exactly how many of their perfect marriages were built on lies. Chaik, cornered and desperate, finally began talking. It started small, just research on wealthy unmarried women. But Nkechi, she made it into something else. She found patterns, identified targets, created whole operations. Shut up, you fool. Nkechi snapped, but it was too late. The truth poured out. A marriage fraud ring that had targeted at least 12 families over 8 years, generating over 2 billion naira in stolen assets. Politicians' daughters, oil executives' heirs, tech entrepreneurs' wives, all carefully selected and systematically destroyed. Dr. Adebayo discovered the most chilling detail in Nkechi's files. Detailed psychological profiles of each victim, including their breaking points, their family relationships, and their children's vulnerabilities. This hadn't been random crime. It had been psychological warfare. Mama, Kemi whispered to Amara. Are we going to be okay? Before Amara could answer, Mama Okafor swept both children into her arms. My grandchildren, you are Okafors. We protect our own always. That's when Detective Becare's phone rang with urgent news. "Ma'am, we've identified the other victims. They're all coming forward now, and they're angry." Within an hour, Amara found herself in an extraordinary situation, sitting in a Lagos hotel conference room with 11 other women who had all been betrayed by the same criminal network. Some had lost their entire inheritances, others their children's trust funds. All had endured public disgrace and emotional manipulation. "The question," said Dr. Adebayo, "is whether we can stop those videos from being released before they destroy more lives." But as the clock ticked toward the deadline, they discovered something that changed everything. The cloud servers were located offshore, beyond Nigerian legal jurisdiction, and the release mechanism was automated. Unless they could find Nkechi's partner, the technical mastermind who had set up the entire digital infrastructure, the videos would be released in 14 hours, destroying dozens of families and exposing children to their parents' most humiliating moments. The race against time had begun. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Can they stop the videos in time? What would you do to protect your family? Comment below. The war room in the Lagos hotel suite buzzed with desperate energy as 12 betrayed wives worked alongside cybersecurity experts, police investigators, and Dr. Adebayo's legal team. With only 10 hours remaining before the automatic video release, they had identified Nkechi's technical partner, Obinna Ikechukwu, a brilliant computer programmer who had been running the digital aspects of the marriage fraud ring from his Abuja apartment. "He's not answering his phone," Detective Becare reported grimly. "His neighbors say he hasn't been seen in 2 days." Amara sat with her twins, who were coloring quietly while the adults planned around them. The public disgrace hanging over their heads felt like a sword ready to fall, but seeing the other wives, women who had survived similar betrayals, gave her strength she didn't know she possessed. "I have an idea," said Folake, one of the other victims who worked in telecommunications. "If we can't reach Obinna directly, we can trace his digital footprint backward. Every server connection, every login, every financial transaction." Dr. Adebayo coordinated with federal authorities while the women pooled their resources and expertise. It became clear that this criminal network had connections reaching into the highest levels of Nigerian society: judges who had facilitated quick divorces, politicians who had provided legal protection, business leaders who had helped launder stolen assets. The emotional manipulation had been systematic. Each victim had been isolated from family support, gaslit into believing they were to blame for their marriage problems, and legally maneuvered into positions where fighting back seemed impossible. "We can't just stop the videos," Amara realized during their strategy session. "We have to destroy the entire network." With 6 hours remaining, they got their breakthrough. Obinna had made a critical mistake, using his real identity to register a backup server in Ghana. Dr. Adebayo contacted Ghanaian authorities, who agreed to coordinate an immediate raid. But as police in Accra surrounded Obinna's location, he sent a message to all 12 victims: "Stop the investigation, or I release everything early." The standoff had begun. In the hotel room, the women faced an impossible choice: sacrifice justice to protect their family's privacy, or risk having their most intimate betrayals broadcast across social media. Mama Okafor, who had been quietly observing the proceedings, suddenly stood up. "My daughters," she said to all 12 women, "you are fighting for more than yourselves. You are fighting for every woman who might be targeted next." Amara looked around the room at women who had become sisters through shared trauma and realized something powerful. Their betrayals had isolated them individually, but together they were formidable. "We don't negotiate with criminals," she announced. "Let him release the videos. We'll face the shame and use it to bring down the entire conspiracy." The other women nodded grimly. They had already survived the worst betrayal. Public humiliation couldn't break what had already been forged in fire. As the countdown continued, they prepared for battle. What would you choose, justice or privacy? Comment below if you think they made the right decision. Don't forget to like and subscribe. With 3 hours remaining until the automatic video release, the war room received shocking news from Ghana. Obinna had been found dead in his Accra apartment, apparently from a heart attack brought on by extreme stress. His laptop was still open, showing the countdown timer that would release intimate videos of 12 families across Nigeria. "Can we stop it remotely?" Detective Bakare asked the cybersecurity team. "Not without his passwords, and even then, he built in multiple redundancies," came the grim response. But Amara had been studying Obinna's psychological profile and realized something the experts had missed. He was terrified of Nkechi. Look at his communications. He was planning to run, to disappear completely. He wouldn't have left this system running if he thought he might become a victim too. Dr. Adebayo understood immediately. There's a kill switch. Somewhere in his apartment or on his person, there's a way to stop this. The Ghanaian police found it 15 minutes later, a smartphone with a single app protected by biometric security that died with Obinna. But his dying act had been to write a series of numbers on the wall in his own blood, coordinates that led to a safety deposit box in Lagos. With 90 minutes remaining, Detective Bakare's team raced across Lagos to the bank, fought through legal red tape, and finally accessed a safety deposit box containing external hard drives, detailed financial records, and a full confession detailing the marriage fraud conspiracy. Most importantly, they found master passwords to the server network. As news of the conspiracy's destruction spread across Lagos, something unexpected happened. Instead of shame, the 12 victims found themselves celebrated as heroes who had brought down a criminal enterprise that had terrorized wealthy families for nearly a decade. The oil rights that had started the entire conflict were transferred back to Amara, who immediately announced plans to establish a foundation supporting victims of domestic betrayal and infidelity. Chaik's assets were frozen pending criminal prosecution, and Nkechi faced charges for conspiracy, fraud, and extortion. But the most powerful moment came when 4-year-old Taiwo asked his mother, "Mama, are you happy now?" Amara looked around the hotel room at 11 women who had become her sisters through shared trauma and survival, at Mama Okafor, who had chosen justice over family loyalty, at Dr. Adebayo, who had fought tirelessly for strangers who became friends. "Yes, my son," she said, holding both twins close. "Mama is happy now." 6 months later, Amara stood in a Lagos courthouse as Judge Adeyemi sentenced Chaik to 12 years in prison for marriage fraud and conspiracy. Nkechi received 15 years for masterminding the operation. The other victims had all rebuilt their lives, stronger and more connected than before their betrayals. The twins had started therapy to process their father's actions, but they were resilient, surrounded by love from their grandmother, their mother's new extended family of survivors, and a community that had rallied around their courage. As they left the courthouse, Kemi asked, "Mama, will Papa ever be good again?" Amara considered the question carefully. "Papa made very bad choices, but people can change if they truly want to. For now, we're safe, we're strong, and we're together." The revenge story had become a survival story, and the survival story had become a tale of justice served. Dr. Adebayo had been right from the beginning. Chaik's infidelity had indeed become the most expensive mistake of his life. But more than that, it had revealed the strength of women who refused to be destroyed by the men who betrayed them. The random phone call from desperate 4-year-olds had saved not just their mother, but 12 families and potentially dozens more who might have been targeted in the future. Sometimes the most powerful weapon against domestic betrayal isn't revenge. It's the courage to seek justice, the strength to demand truth, and the wisdom to transform survival into purpose. That's the end of this incredible story of betrayal, survival, and justice. What did you think of Amara's journey? Comment below if you've ever experienced betrayal and how you overcame it. Share this story with someone who needs to hear about the power of resilience. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful African stories. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments, and keep believing in justice.